For months, astronomers have been tracking a quiet traveler as it drifted through our solar system, an interstellar visitor unlike any observed before. Dubbed 3I Atlas, it originated from beyond the Milky Way's edges, traversing the frozen, infinite void of deep space. Yet, just as the world prepared to bid farewell to this mysterious object, something unprecedented occurred. As 3I Atlas neared its closest point to the Sun, global telescopes captured an anomaly so bizarre that even the most cynical scientists were stunned. Its brightness fluctuated, its form shifted, and it performed a maneuver never before seen in a natural body. Tonight, we examine what the James Webb, Hubble, and various ground-based observatories actually saw, and why Harvard's renowned astrophysicist Avi Loeb suggests this anomaly could represent the most significant discovery in the history of modern astronomy. The impossible tale, the mystery, began when Spain's 2-meter twin telescope took 159 images of 3I Atlas during its solar conjunction, the moment it passed behind the Sun from our view. Those frames revealed something physically impossible: a slender jet of matter firing straight toward the Sun. Typically, comets release gas and dust that solar winds blow away from the star, creating a tail that points outward. This object did the opposite, forming a countertail as if it were pushing back against the Sun's influence rather than yielding to it. Hubble and the Keck Observatory in Hawaii soon confirmed this, detecting a faint glow reaching toward the Sun instead of away. For a comet, such behavior is absurd, the cosmic version of smoke blowing against a gale. This anomaly didn't just break expectations, it challenged the fundamental laws of solar physics. While some researchers hypothesized the material might be a rare alloy resistant to radiation pressure, others proposed a more radical idea. The tail was actually exhaust from a controlled internal mechanism. Mismatched mass and hollow theories. As more information arrived, it became clear this was no standard comet. The gravitational readings and mass of 3I Atlas simply didn't align. Based on its path, the object moved as if it were significantly lighter than its size suggested. Furthermore, it rotated at an unusually slow pace, one full turn every 16 hours, which would normally cause a typical ice or rock body to break apart. Yet, 3I Atlas stayed perfectly whole. One by one, conventional theories failed. Some experts argued the object might be hollow, a theory supported by minor flickers in its reflected light. If accurate, we weren't looking at a solid boulder, but a metallic shell drifting through the void. Spectral analysis showed nickel and iron levels far higher than any local asteroid, alongside rare cyanide compounds. This composition pointed towards something far beyond a natural birth. The OEP scale to categorize the mounting confusion. Avi Loeb and his team introduced the OEP scale, Object of Extraterrestrial Probability, modeled after the Torino scale for asteroid impacts. This system ranks interstellar visitors from 0 to 10 based on their unexplained traits. Level 0, entirely natural, like 2I/Borisov. Level 10, confirmed alien technology with global impact. Loeb assigned 3I Atlas a level 4, defining it as an object with several persistent anomalies lacking any natural explanation. This placement suggests a 40% probability that the origin is artificial. This figure sparked a frenzy across scientific circles and social media alike. While many dismissed it as mere guesswork, Loeb's previous insights regarding Oumuamua gained new weight. If the data is correct, we are witnessing the second confirmed visitor from outside our galaxy, and perhaps the first one that was built rather than born. The vanishing act just as global curiosity peaked, 3I Atlas disappeared, not destroyed but shielded by the Sun's glare during conjunction. For several weeks, it was invisible to our sensors, as if a curtain had been pulled over a cosmic stage. During this blackout, NASA budget issues and ESA data restrictions left the public in the dark. However, simulations indicated that upon re-emerging, the object would head toward Jupiter's orbit. This coincidence has astronomers on edge. While no impact is expected, it will pass incredibly close to the juice, and Europa Clipper probes. This proximity might allow us to sample its material or detect even stranger electromagnetic signatures. Some fear that while hidden by the sun, 3I Atlas might have changed its course entirely, a move that would redefine our understanding of non-human intelligence. The reappearance and the pulse after 6 weeks of silence. The object finally emerged. Dozens of sensors on Earth and an orbit locked onto its predicted coordinates. The results were shocking. Rather than dimming after its solar pass, 3I Atlas was nearly 400% brighter. Its albedo, reflectivity, had surged beyond what its surface area should allow. Infrared data showed its internal temperature had stabilized despite moving away from the heat of the sun, suggesting some form of internal thermal regulation. Most importantly, the sunward jet was gone, replaced by a rhythmic, pulsating beam of ultraviolet light directed into deep space. It wasn't random. It pulsed every 247 seconds with the precision of a heartbeat. It appeared deliberate, a broadcast. Decoding the message, scientists from MIT and the European Southern Observatory began analyzing these pulses. Initially appearing as noise, the signal was found to correspond to prime numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. This is the universal handshake, often cited by SETI as the clearest sign of intelligence. The odds of this happening naturally are nearly zero. While NASA urged a cautious interpretation, Loeb's team argued this was no longer a natural event, but a message. Soon, independent labs globally confirmed the findings. Whatever 3I Atlas was, it was functioning like a machine executing a programmed protocol. The Webb revelation, when the James Webb Space Telescope was tasked with imaging the object, it captured something that shook the scientific world. Beneath the outer crust, Webb found a geometric, lattice-like frame made of repeating hexagonal plates. These plates were identical in size and perfectly aligned with the rotation axis, mathematically perfect and non-fractured. The material was an ultra-pure nickel-titanium alloy, far cleaner than anything found in nature. To put it plainly, the object was engineered. Webb also detected the outer layer adjusting itself in real time to minimize glare. This wasn't a drifting rock. It was a craft built to adapt and survive the stars. But where was the pilot? The departure on the night of its final appearance, the pulses stopped. For 12 hours, the object went totally inert. Then, at 2:17 Universal Time Coordinated, it performed a sudden, measurable course correction of 0.09 degrees. While small, no natural body can change its own velocity vector without propulsion. It accelerated at $14 \text m/is $2, heading away from Jupiter and toward the edge of our solar system. Its exit path mirrored its arrival path exactly. Before vanishing, it emitted one last 13-minute beam containing a structured binary signature. For the first time, a visitor may have actually spoken back to us. The final echo weeks of analysis followed. The final transmission wasn't just a broadcast. It was a mirror signal designed to respond to the instruments watching it. When visualized, the data formed a 3D fractal of repeating hexagons, matching the internal structure Webb had seen. Within this pattern was the golden ratio, $1.618, a mathematical constant found throughout life and the cosmos. It was as if the universe's own signature was being played back to us. On September 21st, as the object crossed the helipause, a massive spike in cosmic background radiation occurred, matching the frequency of the object's pulse. The universe itself seemed to answer for a split second, and then, Silence.3i Atlas left us with a code yet to be broken and proof that we are not alone. As one researcher noted, perhaps we didn't find it. Perhaps it found us. If you're ready to explore the truths space agencies won't share, subscribe and hit the bell. When the next signal arrives, you'll want to be the first to know. It was leaving. Before crossing the heliopause, the boundary where solar wind yields to interstellar space, 3I Atlas emitted one final ultraviolet beam lasting exactly 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Encoded within the spectrum was structured binary modulation. Researchers at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics reconstructed the signal visually. The result was a three-dimensional fractal spiral composed of repeating hexagons, mirroring the internal lattice observed by the James Webb Telescope. Embedded within the fractal was the ratio 1.618, the golden constant found in biological growth, spiral galaxies, and fundamental geometry. The signal did not merely broadcast outward. It reflected the electromagnetic signature of the observing instruments, a mirror response. It was interacting. Then, on September 21st, monitoring stations recorded a fleeting fluctuation in the cosmic microwave background, the residual radiation of the Big Bang, at the same harmonic frequency as the final pulse. For a fraction of a second, the universe itself seemed to echo the transmission. Moments later, 3I Atlas crossed beyond the heliopause and vanished into interstellar darkness. It left behind no debris, no fragments, only data that continues to be analyzed, data that resists conventional explanation, data that suggests, with uncomfortable persistence, that the cosmos may not be silent after all. Perhaps 3I Atlas was not a spacecraft in the traditional sense. Perhaps it was not a probe or a vessel. Perhaps it was something stranger, a messenger, a mirror, a test. Or perhaps it was simply the first undeniable sign that intelligence does not belong solely to Earth, that somewhere, across the incomprehensible distances between stars, something else is watching the same sky. And if it sent one signal, who's to say it won't send another? And if it sent one signal, who's to say it won't send another? Because what happened after 3I Atlas vanished may be even more unsettling than the object itself. In the weeks following its departure beyond the heliopause, observatories didn't shut down. They intensified. Radio arrays from Chile to Australia recalibrated their receivers. Deep space tracking stations adjusted their sensitivity thresholds, searching not for light, but for echoes. If 3I Atlas had transmitted once, perhaps faint remnants of that transmission still lingered, stretched thin across the solar wind. At first, there was nothing. Then, buried deep within archived data recorded during the final ultraviolet pulse, a graduate researcher at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics noticed something strange. The binary modulation embedded within the 13-minute, 37-second beam did not terminate cleanly. It decayed gradually, tapering off in a way inconsistent with simple signal drop-off. It faded as if transitioning frequencies. The team reprocessed the spectrum using crossband harmonics. What emerged was subtle but undeniable, a secondary carrier wave embedded beneath the ultraviolet emission. It wasn't strong enough to stand out during the initial analysis, but once isolated, it revealed an even more precise structure. The primes were only the introduction. Beneath them lay nested intervals, ratios within ratios, forming a recursive mathematical hierarchy. It resembled a compression key, as if the visible signal had been a header and the real message was encoded beneath it. When the waveform was translated into three-dimensional spatial coordinates, something astonishing appeared. A star map. Not a crude drawing, not a random scatter of points. A scaled, proportionally accurate representation of a stellar cluster far beyond our galactic neighborhood. Astronomers cross-referenced it with deep field surveys captured by the James Webb Space Telescope. After days of verification, a match surfaced. The coordinates aligned with a dense region near the outskirts of the Triangulum galaxy. The implication was staggering. If the map was intentional, if it was not coincidence, then 3I Atlas had not merely passed through the Milky Way. It had originated from beyond it. Intergalactic. That realization fractured the debate wide open. The energy requirements to cross intergalactic space are beyond any propulsion method humanity has conceived. Even traveling at a fraction of light speed, such a journey would require millions of years. Unless the object was not bound by conventional propulsion at all, new theories emerged. Some physicists proposed gravitational slingshot networks, objects accelerated by successive close passes around supermassive black holes. Others whispered about space-time manipulation, warp metrics, Alcubierre drives, concepts still confined to theoretical papers and equations. But perhaps the most chilling interpretation came from a small collaboration between computational linguists and astrophysicists at MIT. They proposed that 3I Atlas was not a traveler in the traditional sense. It was a relay, the prime pulses, a handshake protocol, the fractal spiral, a compression cipher, the mirrored electromagnetic reflection, a confirmation of receipt. In that framework, 3I Atlas had not been exploring. It had been checking. Checking for technological activity. Checking for electromagnetic signatures advanced enough to decode its message. Checking whether Earth had crossed some invisible threshold of detectability. And once confirmed, it left. Not in retreat. In report. Weeks after its disappearance, faint anomalies began appearing in the outer heliosphere. Subtle fluctuations in solar wind density at precise 247-second intervals. They were almost indistinguishable from noise. Almost. Independent observatories in Japan, Chile, and South Africa verified the timing. The intervals matched the original ultraviolet pulse spacing exactly. It was distant now, far beyond direct observation, but something out there was still echoing. Meanwhile, governments moved quietly. Funding for deep space detection arrays increased under classified budgets. NASA and ESA both denied any connection to 3I Atlas when questioned publicly. Yet internal memos leaked through anonymous sources revealed emergency task forces analyzing the binary fractal structure. The OEP scale, created by Avi Loeb, was updated once more. Level 9 remained. One step below confirmation. Loeb's final statement before media silence was brief. If the data is accurate, we are not alone in the observable universe, and we may never have been. Then came the event no one anticipated. On October 3rd, multiple cosmic microwave background monitoring stations detected a synchronized fluctuation, not localized but diffuse. It lasted less than a second. The frequency ratio matched 1.618, the golden constant embedded in the fractal transmission. For the first time in recorded history, background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang, exhibited structured harmonic interference. The universe had responded. Skeptics argued instrumentation error, calibration drift, coincidental interference. But independent detectors across continents recorded the same signature. It was faint, but it was real. And since that moment, deep-field telescopes have been scanning the Triangulum galaxy with unprecedented focus. No visible craft, no luminous beacons, just distant stars burning in silence. Yet something has changed. Astrophysicists now monitor anomalies not as statistical curiosities, but as potential communications. SETI protocols have been rewritten. Prime number detection algorithms now run continuously across ultraviolet and radio bands. Space agencies are planning missions designed not just to explore, but to intercept. Because if 3I Atlas was a messenger, then someone or something is waiting for a reply. The final unresolved mystery remains the most unsettling of all. When researchers replay the fractal reconstruction of the signal at accelerated timescales, the spiral appears to rotate. Slowly, deliberately. As it rotates, subtle distortions ripple along its edges, forming secondary patterns too faint to decode. Almost like an unfinished sentence. Almost like an invitation. 3I Atlas did not crash. It did not linger. It did not attempt contact in any human sense. It observed. It transmitted. It departed. Perhaps it was never meant to stay. Perhaps it was simply the first knock on a door humanity didn't realize it had. And if that door has now been opened, even slightly, the question is no longer whether we are alone. The question is who else now knows we're here. I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video and subscribe to help the channel grow. Every bit of support counts.